What is going on, Washington Commanders Nation? We are back with another video, and in today's video, this running back draft class is pretty good. Free agency for running backs, we'll see if that's good or not, but the running backs in the draft are pretty good. We're going to be talking about all the options for the Washington Commanders, and also a report that we got. I heard about it. Brob is likely to be the Commanders' running back one heading into next season, which doesn't mean we can't draft a running back or go sign a running back. But before we get into the video, leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you are new. Now, let's go ahead and get into the video. So, we're going to look at some of the options here for the Commanders. So this year's draft class is a good one for running backs. Omarion Hampton, Keyshawn Judkins, Travion Henderson, and Dylan Sampson are the four main guys that I would say are perfect for the Washington Commanders out of the draft. Now, to the report I was saying, J.P. Finley, obviously well-known guy in the Commanders space, reports for the Commanders. He was on X, and in his live space, he said that he doesn't believe that the Commanders will go into next season with Brian Robinson Jr. as running back one. Now, I said earlier, I said it wrong. I meant to say that Brian Robinson Jr. is not going to be the running back one for the Commanders next season. That's what I meant to say. That is what J.P. Finley said. So he is probably not going to be the running back one next season for the Washington Commanders. That is what J.P. Finley said. Sorry, guys, I said it wrong. J.P. Finley said he's probably not going to be the running back one. But, so, what do you think the Commanders should do? Type it down below. I mean, are we going to go out there and draft a guy when that's really not our biggest need? Or are we really going to try to build this O-line up and maybe Brian Robinson Jr. finds something out of that? Is that the way it's going to look? I think we're going to draft a running back. I mean, I think it's going to be very deep, though. We might not get any of those four guys, but we might get a solid running back in definitely probably the last day of the draft. It's not going to be early. I can tell you that because we need a wide receiver. We need an edge rusher. We need linebackers. We need a safety. Okay, well, actually, hold on that. We don't need a safety. We really don't need a linebacker if Bobby Wagner comes back. So we definitely need an edge rusher. I would build the O-line and D-line more. So edge rusher, D-line, O-line, wide receiver 2, and then you're probably talking about a running back, which is, and maybe a tight end. So yeah, you're talking probably last day of the draft or one of the last 2 days of the draft. And so maybe those four guys aren't available, but there is still solid guys available in this draft class. And we know Ashton Jeanty, is obviously going probably top 10 in the draft, maybe top 15. Probably to the Cowboys, to be honest. Because, teams just need running backs. Certain teams need a running back more than us. That's not really one of our biggest problems as a team, as a unit. And so we're not going to get him. I just wanted to highlight him. We're not going to get him. I can assure you that. Because we've also gotten reports that Adam Peters and the staff is not going to try to target offensive guys right away. They're going to try to get defensive assets. We've heard that reported plenty of times already, that they're going to try to go get defensive guys in free agency and the draft, over offensive guys. And so we just know that we're not going to go out there and chase. I don't even see us getting a wide receiver 2 in the first round of the draft. Even though we need one, I don't think we go out there and chase a wide receiver early. You could find one in one of the later rounds. And so, I just feel like we're not going to go chase those offensive guys. So getting a running back there really wouldn't work. But Brian Robinson Jr., is he going to stay the Commanders running back one? Well, let's look at his stats from this season. Robinson had an okay year. He started off the year really well. And he was doing good, missed a few weeks early on. And, but then it was like he really got in the stretch where he was playing, then he would miss a few weeks, and he would really lock in, and then he would miss a few weeks, but he was actually 1 yard short of 800. So 187 carries, 799 yards, 8 touchdowns, and 4.3 on average. And I know just because I had him on my fantasy team that he actually had a pretty productive year. I mean, he obviously wasn't a starter most weeks with the guys I had, but he had a pretty productive year when you look at the stats. But his career stats are 570 carries, 2,329 yards, 4.1 on average, 15 touchdowns, 40 was his longest run, and 65 receptions. He's good at receiving the ball too, kind of like Eckler. 587 yards there, 9.0 on average, 5 receiving touchdowns, 51 was his longest reception. So he can catch the ball too. This actually depends on, are we going to keep Austin Eckler too? I mean, I believe Eckler was a 2-year guy. I think we signed him for 2 years. So I think, yeah, he's good to stay. But that really depends on, if we move on from Eckler, we have to probably keep Robinson. I mean, I would think we would keep him either way. I feel like even if we get a running back, Robinson could stay running back 2, running back 3, in most situations because he's still pretty good. I mean, he's not bad, but I would like a better guy for the team. Us going forward, we're going to get a better running back, okay? If Robinson doesn't turn into something this year, if he gets his opportunity still, if he doesn't turn into anything this year, he's probably going to be moved on from, and, it's just not working out so far with the Commanders for him, and I hate to say it, I feel like he'll have success in other places, but yeah, it's just not really working out so far yet with the Commanders. It was a pretty good year this year, but just being hurt, the best ability for an NFL player is availability. And when you can't bring that to the table, you're just you're hurting your team, man. And it's different for CMC. Obviously, Christian McCaffrey was hurt pretty much all last year, came back a few games and got hurt again. It's different for him because when he's on the field, he changes the game. He is an offensive threat. For Robinson, I don't really feel like he's a big offensive threat. I don't feel like defenses really have to worry about him, like a guy like Saquon Barkley. Defenses really have to worry about shutting him down. For B-Rob, I don't think you have to do that. And so when you don't do that, it's hard to say you're a threat in the NFL. And, like I said, he's really injury prone, but he is still pretty young. So, and I liked him. Man, at the beginning of the year, I made a tweet that said he was a top 10 running back in the league, I thought, at that time. And then he got hurt, and that kind of just went down. At the Panthers game, I believe he had a pretty good game against the Panthers. That game's coming to my mind because I think he had 2 touchdowns. And there's a few games where he had 2 touchdowns this year. And so he had an okay year. And we'll keep him as a running back 2 or 3 for the future. But I don't know if he's going to fill that spot as a running back 1 for the future. But let me know what you guys think. But that's all I got for today's video. Highlighting some guys from the draft. Highlighting Brian Robinson Jr., who JP Finley said is probably not going to stay with the team and be the running back 1 for the Washington Commanders. I'll see y'all boys in the next one. Hail to the Washington Commanders. Leave a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel. Once again, hail the Washington Commanders. Terry McLaurin is the best wide receiver in the NFL. Peace.